Esteemed audience, welcome to yet another amazing episode of the Great Debaters Contest. We are in Coast Region, Mombasa County, and the search still continues. I am your host, Esperancia Kapanga. In today's debate, the motion states that poverty is the leading cause of insecurity in Africa. Proposing this motion, we have Maweni Mixed Secondary School, and opposing the motion, we have Hassan Joho Girls High School. Proposer number 1, you have 3 minutes to make your submissions.
43 out of 54 countries in the world. In Africa, 43 countries are ranked world's poorest countries. Out of 10 insecure countries for tourism, 4 of them come from Africa. That is a fact from worldspopulationreview.com website. From Maweni Mixed Secondary School, I am Valentine Hakai, proposing the motion which states that poverty is the leading cause of insecurity in Africa. First, what is poverty? Poverty is defined as lack of provision to satisfy the basic human needs of a certain people. Insecurity is lack of confidence or assurance. When you go to Rome, be a Roman. When you come to Africa, be an African. When you come to Kenya, be a Kenyan. Those are the words of my history teacher. I have one question. But how can a rose blossom among the thorns? Is that possible? Parents out there are really suffering. Our parents are really suffering in order to see us in school. Our parents are really suffering in order to see us reaching our goals. You know, it is very difficult. It is very painful for a parent to watch their children die of hunger. In that situation, they are ready to do anything in order to sustain their children. You see, this desperateness might make them to involve themselves in serious crimes such as theft and burglary, therefore leading to insecurity in Africa. Let us not only blame poverty. Secondly, as a fact from wikipedia.com website, poverty begins, let's say that crime begins from childhood. All over the world, there is a stereotype of successful life and luxurious lifestyle of people, you know. You see, adolescents also want such type of life, a life when you can get whatever you want in a snap of a finger, a life that you just get everything that you want. But when they get that their parents cannot afford them such a lifestyle, they are ready to do anything. They are ready to do anything to get such a life, to be able to live such lives. And this includes getting themselves into criminal gangs, thus leading to insecurity. And as I finish, from the book of Proverbs, chapter 29, verse 17, you say, discipline your children, and they will give you peace, and will bring delights you deserve. But how can this be possible? How can this be possible if the environment around us does not support us? I rest my case.
First proposer, you have 3 minutes to make your submissions.
My name is Purity Mapenzi, and I'm here to defend my stand on the motion. On to my first point, ethnic conflicts. In Africa, many countries have been fighting because of this problem. For example, in Rwanda, where 800 people were killed. This thing makes so many people to move out of their houses and out of their homes because they don't feel insecure in their homes. So they go out and look for better places so that they can be secure. On to my second point, political instability. In 2017, in our own country, Kenya, there was a lot of political instability. Many people get disabled, and some of them even lost their lives, lost their relatives and other people who are dearly to them. These things mostly leads to insecurity, because when one is in a country, he or she expects to be secured, expects to be protected by the government or by the president. And in the case whereby the same leaders are the ones who are bringing insecurity in the country, this makes a lot of the people to move out of their countries. Like, for example, many people in Kenya migrated from urban to rural places so that to seek security. And also, poor infrastructure leads to insecurity. For example, a place where has been robbed, and then the residents have gone and looked for some police officers to come and rescue them. Then we can see that the roads in our country, or like some countries like Zimbabwe, they're not properly kept. So this makes it so difficult for the police officers to reach to the place of sin. Thank you.
Second proposer, you have 3 minutes for cross-examination.
My name is Walter Charles from Maweni Mixed Secondary School, here to agree with the motion that states poverty is the leading cause of insecurity in Africa. I'll start by rebutting I'll start by rebutting my fellow members' talks. She did not define the motion, and also, if the people from Rwanda migrated, they just migrated because of the poverty that was there in the state due to the increased insecurity in that place. Kofi Annan once said, and I quote, "Extreme poverty anywhere is a threat to human security everywhere." From this quote, it just defines the motion very clearly. On to my first point. Poverty leads to drug abuse. When someone is poor, and for example, he has to sustain his family, he has to look for a job to sustain himself and the society, he or she will start getting ways to relieve the stress that he has, because the burden of it all is weighing onto him. So he will start taking drugs as one of the methods to relieve the stress. And when someone takes drugs, they have impaired judgment, which will also make them to do things that are not normal, and they think that they are. This will lead to insecurity, because most of the gangs in Kenya and Africa are just formed from the simple means of taking drugs. My second point, it leads to illegal trade. Let's say one of these poor people have connections to a drug dealer or a human and weapon smuggler. They will use that connection to benefit themselves, which they'll obtain these items and then start selling them to the society at a cheaper price so that they can get money to sustain themselves. But they don't know that they're just encouraging people out there to do the same or to use these items to commit crimes. For example, if someone sells to you a weapon at a cheap price, it is not insured, licensed, or has not gone through the legal requirements. This person will use it to commit crimes, knowing that he cannot be tracked by any means they are possible. So it will lead to illegal trade. And I want to ask you a question. If Africa is the cradle of mankind, then why is it the least developed continent in the world? With this, I rest my case, urging you to join us in proposing the motion. Thank you.
Second opposer, you have 3 minutes for cross-examination.
Fatma Ahmed from Hassan Joho Girls Secondary School. Today, I stand here confidently and ready to oppose the motion that states poverty is the leading cause of insecurity in Africa. First, I'll be a gentle lady and define to you the terms poverty. What's poverty? Poverty is the lack of the necessary resources needed by a human to cater for their daily needs. What's insecurity? Insecurity, this is the lack of uncertainty in the state of being subject to danger or vulnerability. And according to the Nation newspaper, The Star, on March 14, 2016, Cote d'Ivoire heavily armed gunmen fire out popular Ivory Coast beach resort, killing the lives of 18 people. Isn't that insecurity? How does it relate to poverty? On to my first point, terrorism. Of the recent years, Africa as a continent has been facing terrorism. For example, the Garissa University in Kenya, can you tell me how was that related to poverty? They have a lot of things, a lot of stuff to do in the university, all the necessities that they need. How does that relate to poverty? Think about that. 147 people died during that time, and these people can be the people we need in the society. The leaders that we have today will be from the university, and they were killed due to insecurity. The Somalia, the Al-Shabaabs, who kill people every now and then for no reason. How is that related to poverty? And then the Boko Haram in Nigeria. You have to think about that too. Then the religious difference. For example, in Rwanda, the Hutus and Tutsis in Rwanda, we all know that Rwanda was one of the Christian countries in this world. And the Protestant Catholics and the SDS, the Seventh-day Adventists, were killing each other because of religious difference, as in they have different types of Christianity. They have the Protestant and the Catholics and the SDS, leading to the death of 800,000 people over there. These people could have helped in the next future, but they were dead because of these religious differences over there. How is religion related to poverty? And then I would like to ask a question to one of the proposers here who came and said that the poverty lead to people, lead to the cause of people getting engaged into stuff like getting paid for guns, I don't know what and what. But here comes the question. You have no money. You have nothing to do. And then where will the guns come from while you don't have money? Where will you get the guns from while you don't have money? And then he said that use of drugs reduce stress. Once your stress is reduced, that means insecurity will increase. Does it mean that insecurity will increase? You are not stressed. Can you tell me, while you are stressed, you'll think about other things to do that cause conflict, but you are not stressed. How will you increase insecurity in Africa? Check out for that. Thank you.
The proposers have been asked, if indeed poverty is the leading cause of insecurity in Africa, then what solutions are they tabling for us? The opposers, on the other hand, have been asked. They gave an example about urban areas having been more insecure than rural areas during the post-election violence, and the audience is asking for an example of an urban area that was actually more insecure. Third proposer, you have 3 minutes to respond.
In the words of one Mark Twain, he once said that cauliflower is nothing but cabbage with a college education. So let me just start by answering the audience's question. The solutions to poverty are simple. First, leaders think and talk about solutions. Followers think and talk about the problems. So the solutions are, number one, the government must offer employment to all the youth who are poor. And the government must improve or develop poverty-stricken areas. So, Nelson Madiba Mandela said, as long as poverty, injustice, and gross inequality persist in our world, none of us can truly rest. Are we resting? No, we're not. Why? Because, you see, poverty creates stereotypes. Stereotypes in our mind that it determines a certain stereotype in a person's thoughts, and that person does not see any other constructive way of solving the problem, which is poverty. As he or she wants to choose the easiest way of getting money. I want to ask my audience, who in this audience does not want easy money? Who doesn't want money comes? We all want that. And if you don't want money comes, then I'm sorry, maybe you're not human, but I know that we all want money for survival. Poverty has a huge psychological influence on people who become depressed, desperate, and then they decide to commit a crime, as they have not found anything that can legally get them out of such a situation. A speaker in the opposition side said that the Rwandan genocide was caused by differences in religion. Well, I think that's wrong, practically wrong, because according to my research in the Wikipedia and all about the Rwandan genocide, it was a fight amongst the two tribes, Hutus and Tutsis. So please, you are lying to us. On my second point, poverty causes mental illness. You see, if I'm poor, and obviously I don't have any means of getting money, right? My mind turns to the negative side of the world. I start seeing the world as something that is not of value to me. I start seeing that the world is crumbling down to me. Well, as I conclude, I'll leave with a quote from Confucius, who said, "The strength of a nation derives from the integrity of the home." So let us stop poverty to reduce insecurity, not only in Africa, but in Kenya. Thank you.
Third opposer, you have 3 minutes to respond.
My name is Joan Makoha from Hassan Joho Girls. I'm here to oppose this motion that says poverty is the leading cause of insecurity in Africa. I can say that greed for powers is the most wanting cause of insecurity in Kenya today. Most of the rich people we see, they live in estates, leaving the poor living in slums. This causes insecurity because these people, where will they get employment? If these people always lock themselves in big gates, driving big cars, leaving these people to live like that. Another thing is reaching for votes. We can see even in our country and most of the countries, during the elections, these people reach the votes. We choose the right person, but when it comes to the counting, we get that the person who has won the election is not the one whom we have chosen. This leads to this makes people to start fighting for their rights. Another thing is level of illiteracy. The government, mostly our president, has been these people of 100% transaction that said that every person had the right to be in school. But you find in some countries, mostly in Kenya, when we saw that in Kakamega, there was a woman who said that, who is against this motion of people going to school. She claims that she doesn't want her children to go in school, claiming that this education is a form of Illuminati. So that is also making people to be poor in Kenya. And then another thing, lack of job opportunities. It is a mindset of people that there's no jobs in Kenya, but there are many jobs. People, they go to school, after that, they say that there's no jobs. They don't want to create them. They want to go for collar jobs. But I'm saying that in Kenya, we are having so many resources which you can utilize. So I don't think that poverty is the only cause. Another thing is attitudes towards work. Most of our educates are going to they are going to broad countries. They are going to search for jobs there, thinking that there is job opportunities and better payments, leaving our country to lack people to work. And then another thing is working group. Most of the working people are the elder people. They think that there is need. Many of the youth are lying there. They don't have jobs. It is because these people have been given, the elder people are the ones who are working. So I have a question. For how long will the youth wait for the elders for them to be employed? And what will they be involving themselves in? Those are the questions which you have to ask us ourselves when we are considering in this motion. Thank you.
Proposers, you have 1 minute for your final submission.
I must say I'm very disappointed seeing others opposing this motion. You know, don't forget you are a human. It's okay to have a meltdown. Just don't unpack. Just don't unpack and live there. It's okay, cry out and then look forward and keep on moving on. Poverty is surely a leading cause of insecurity in Africa. I must say that. Let's look for the solutions now. It's time for us to come together and look for solutions rather than this blame game that is going around. Please, my fellow opposers, please just join us. Poverty is the leading cause of insecurity in Africa. I rest my case.
Opposition, you have 1 minute to give a final submission.
We have so many opportunities given to us as a country or as citizens of Kenya, but we do not have to blame only one thing that we can solve by our minds. Another thing is that we have so many problems surrounding us that causes insecurity in our country. We should not give a blind eye to those things and only say that poverty is the only leading cause of insecurity, because it's not. Because, like, when you say ethnic conflicts, the ethnic conflicts in most of the countries in Africa, they cause insecurity. It's not related to poverty in any way, because let's say, for example, one person comes from an ethnic group, like let's say Somalia, and another person comes from another group of ethnicity. So these two people, they have all the resources they want to satisfy their needs, but again, they're going to fight. That is not caused by poverty. I'm going to answer my colleague on the proposer side on the question of Rwanda. Okay? The people of Rwanda, they did migrate from their country. It is mainly because of the political instability and also the Christianity fighting each other. Thank you.
From my end, I felt generally the proposers, Valentine, you had a fair definition of terms. You tried to link poverty to insecurity, but then you were not really bringing out your points well. Are there any statistics and figures showing the relationship between poverty and insecurity? That is what I expected from you as the first speaker. And I felt if you could have done some more research and give us those statistics and figures, your presentation could have been very powerful. Walter, you could have done a better battle. The first speaker spoke about various points such as ethnic conflict, political instability. I expected you to, in a way, link these points to poverty. So you could have come out guns blazing with a better rebuttal, but then the points you chose, drug abuse, well, you tried. You are a confident speaker. That I can for sure say. Justin, good use of verbal and nonverbal cues, but then you need to work on your coherency of argument. At a certain point, I was not really seeing your argument flowing in relation with the question. But then your style and presentation, use of verbal and verbal cues, rhetorical questions stood out.
Hassan Joho, the first speaker, that is Purity Mapenzi, should link your points to the motion. For example, you did not bring it quite clear. How is poverty the leading cause? You had the points on other causes. So you needed to bring it out that poverty is not the leading cause. It could be one of the causes, but there are other causes aside from that. You also underutilized your time, which indicated probably you did not have enough content. Fatma, The rhetoric questions were good. They actually put emphasis on your argument. You had valid points that you seemed to be struggling to bring out. So again, we are coming back to the idea of articulation. You had a point, but you went round and round and round while trying to bring it out. It was a good point though, quite valid. So we need to work on that too, the articulation. Then we had the last speaker, Joanne. You failed to answer the question. I don't know whether I missed that one out, but we didn't get the bit. You came on stage and embarked on giving us the points. Very good points though, on at least you added to the points on the opposition side. What are the other causes that we have that are leading to insecurity apart from poverty?
The defining moment in every debate. Hassan Joho Girls High School. The judges awarded you 62.5%. Let's give them a round of applause. Maweni Mixed Secondary School. The judges awarded you 63.7%, making you the winners of this debate. A round of applause for them. Congratulations to Maweni Mixed for being more outstanding in this debate. Ladies and gentlemen, our conversation here on stage is over, but for you at home, keep it going across all our social media platforms. The hashtag is GDC for SDGs. We'd also like to appreciate each and every participating school, the principals, the patrons, and even the students that stand here to give us amazing debates. I have been your host, Esperancia Kapanga. See you in the next episode.